Good morning, everyone. Man, that's good. Yes, it is morning. It is actually morning. Welcome to the Great Outdoors. I am your host, Willie, and today we are going to be talking about some how-to things. Now, I'm not a big how-to person because what works for me here may not work for you where you're at. All I can do is say, this is how I do it. Give it a shot where you're at. Maybe something will happen. Because we all know if you grew up fishing, those Saturday morning TV shows where, all the famous names are out there casting and throwing and retrieving and, and they're doing all this stuff. And at the end, they're sponsored by these people and those people. And you go out and buy whatever it is that they had and and it didn't work for you at all. You cast it all day long, nothing happened. It's really a territorial thing. If you live in Florida, the bass and stuff are biting on one thing. You live in Texas, the bass are biting on something else. The only thing that's really ever that dependable are bluegill and crappie. They'll pretty much eat anything you throw. But it's just one of those things where here recently I've been asked several times, and I've had to comment or email back what it is that I do, why I do it, and what I use to do it with. I just thought it would be good to throw a short video in here real quick to once again show these things and say, this is why I do what I do. This is what I use to do what I do. If you want to give it a try, give it a try. And maybe, just maybe, where you're at, this will work for you too. So we're going to start off with a pretty important thing. Some people think, oh, I got to have this reel. I got to have this rod. A lot of times that's not what's necessary. What's necessary is what's on the end of your line. Because just about anything is going to reel in a fish. Just about anything. Not everything, but just about. You've seen me use a lot of old stuff from way back. And it catches fish. The importance of all of that was what was on the other end of the line. What I was using to make that fish come alive. Now, I usually start off small. I always have. I start off small with these different lures just to test the waters, as I've always said, to see what's out there and what can be caught, because I have actually caught some really big fish on very small lures. It has happened. We're going to start off with what's on the end of the line. Most of the time, it's going to be this. These are squirt jigs, and they're made by Bass Pro Shops. As you can see, the lead runs the length of the hook, the shaft of the hook. I like using those because I like to actually tuck that lead up in the body of the bait. Let's go to the bait real quick. Many different versions. If you go to Bass Pro Shops, maybe you guys are Bass Pro Shops people and or Cabela's or whatever, and you got them close by, and hit them by all means, because Bass Pro Shops does carry an abundance of Charlie Brewer sliders, which is something I use a lot. They also carry their own brand of the Crappie Max. This is the threadfin shad, which I also use a lot. But you can go to Walmart. Walmart has this particular bait, for example, Yum. This is a smoke with silver sparkle with a curly tail. Length of this guy is 3 inch. After it extends, when you pull it through the water and that sea tail pulls out, it goes out to about 3 inches. Very good color around here. For me, the smoke with silver sparkle, you get that at Walmart. I think it's like $1.70 something for these. Problem with Walmart has always been, you have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They don't have a whole lot of everything. For example, I use the hula poppers, but I use a solid black hula popper, red mouth, gray and white tail, the smallest version they make. Walmart carries 2 versions of that. One has a yellow belly, one has a white belly, and it's a green, but that's the only 2 they carry. That's it. So I have to drive 64 miles to get those solid black hula poppers. Now, I could probably order them on Amazon, but what fun is that when I can go 64 miles, pick them up, and look around at other stuff. These squirt jigs, of course, as I mentioned, Bass Pro Shops. Now, Eagle Claw does make a version, okay, but this is a gold hook. This is going to be a little brass hook. A little bit different world there, a little bit smaller, but they do make them as well, and you can get them, from Eagle Claw if you can't find the Bass Pro Shop version. I like the Bass Pro Shop version, and you don't hear me say that very often. There's only a couple things that Bass Pro Shops has their own version of that I really like. Those squirt jigs are one. The second is some of their baits, like this threadfin shad. That color right there, I can't begin to tell you how many fish I have absolutely destroyed with that bait right there. So Bass Pro does have some things that I like. Now, I'm not so sure that the squirt jigs are going to be made anymore at Bass Pro. I don't know. Last year they put them all on clearance, and I'm not sure if they're coming back. I hope they are, but I don't know. You know, it's a Bass Pro Shops thing. Now, a lot of people say, hey, why don't you use the ball head style jigs? I do use them, but not as much as I used to until I found out how well the squirt jig worked. Ball head jigs. We've all seen these. We've all used these. We've been using them for 100 years. They're around, but the thing I'm going to show you real quick, let's just go ahead and take one out. This is a Charlie Brewer. It's a double jointed kind of thing there that I've been using for a while. Everybody knows how this goes. Feed the hook. Going in the body there. You feed the hook partially around till you get to that first joint. Bring the hook out. Then you pass it over top of the little barb they got there, and I'm going to try my best. This is what you end up with. Okay, can you see that? Now, the thing that I don't like is that big round goofy head. Don't know about you, I've never seen any bait fish swimming around through the water with a big goofy head like that. So I started thinking, what could be make a bait look a little bit more realistic? We're going to go with the Charlie Brewer Smoke and Silver Sparkle, which is just that little guy right there, and a little paddle tail. And we're going to break out. We're going to get one of these. We're going to get one of these. Here we go. See that? The little squirt jig. That's all that is. Just a little squirt jig. I do the same basic principle here, but we're tucking the lead into the body. Going to do the same thing, and you're just passing it through the hook right there like that. I bring it up till it touches the lead, bring the hook out, and then I push the body over top of the lead, like that. So to me, that looks more like some form of bait fish, like a shad or a minnow or whatever you call them wherever they swim around your house. When you call them, hey minnow, hey shad, hey whatever, and they come to you, that's what you call them. But to me, that looks more like a bait fish. There's no big goofy round head on the front. You know, and I like using the red hook because the red, they can see that red, and that red sometimes gives you a flash like a gill, or and when I say gill, like the inside of their gills, not an actual bluegill, but the inside of their gills, or maybe even being wounded, that red, maybe blood is in, you know, it gives them that red look. So I like using the red hooks. But that's why I use them this way. Now I just tuck the lead up inside there. Now you have to remember, the bigger you go, like 3/32, which is actually what this is, if you're up into your smaller sizes like the 1/32 and stuff like that, they're going to pass into those bodies very easily. But 3/32 is a bigger body. I have a tendency to use 1/16 and 3/32 because I like to cast long distances. A lot of the places that I fish, the fish are out further. They're not along the edges, they're out deep. So I try to get as far as I can. So sometimes I'll use that 3/32. Now, since we're talking about casting, I've been asked a lot, how do I pick a vintage reel? Now picking a vintage reel is one of those things that YouTube is, I'm actually glad it's there. Because it kind of helped me along the way by watching a lot of people who rebuilt old reels. And my problem was I was struggling to find somebody that was fishing with them. If you found somebody that was fishing with a reel, it was just random. Maybe their channel was about fishing or something like that. But one of the episode titles would be simply Fishing with Granddad's, vintage Shakespeare, something like that. So they didn't do it repeatedly. They just did it that one time for an episode, just, for people to see them do it. Me, I enjoy using the old stuff, so that's kind of why I kept on doing it. And it's kind of where this channel really started to blossom, as they say. Even though I've got 2,000 subscribers, I didn't get into vintage fishing, to take over YouTube by storm, but I do know that there's a lot of us out there that enjoy that enjoy using the vintage stuff, or, taking it apart, cleaning it up, putting it back together, making it work. Me, I like to fish with these things. Some of them I've liked fishing with and some of them I have not. But I never would have known had I not tried and got out there, make a video of it and tell you guys, well, this one's okay. Can't say that it'll probably ever leave the house again. Might be all right. Or the ones like you normally see, Johnson, Shakespeare, now Penn, and a couple of others that I've been using quite frequently that I take all the time that work really well. Abomatics, you know, Abu Garcia and stuff like that. For those of you who don't really want to go out and search the world over and try to find the perfect vintage reel or get on eBay or whatever and hit the flea markets, whatever, there is new stuff out there that you can grab that work really well. I am an extremely high promoter of Daiwa. This is a Rev Rose I got from a good friend of mine, Timmy. This is a great reel, not a super high price. It is a Rev Rose small. This is the 1000 size. It's a great reel. I mean, you see that. It just, you can sit here and have a conversation while this thing just makes coffee, you know. Great reel if you're looking for new stuff. Also, smaller reels like this Lew's. This is a Lew's Mr. Trout. Same thing. It's a little 4-bearing reel. It works really well. It's very small. It can use 4 and 6 pound line, and you can hum these little daggone baits, the 1/16 and 3/32, the small hula poppers, small like Rapala floating minnows and things like that. It does a great job doing that. Now the vintage stuff sometimes can be a little bit difficult because not every vintage reel is going to cast well, retrieve well. Could be some repairs involved. It happens. Could be some repairs involved, or it just could be that it's just not a great design. You know, there's things out there that you might find that you'll go, I have never heard of that in my life. For example, see that? Pretty neat reel actually, but I'd never heard of it. It's an Atlas Compact. I think it's a cool reel. It works well. It has a anti-reverse. The bail clicks easy, but I've never heard of it in my life. Matter of fact, I haven't even been able to fish with it yet. This reel kind of hurts my feelings if you want to know the truth. Why, you might ask? Well, this was the reel I went and got the day that the Jeep blew up. So no, I haven't used it yet, but it's a neat reel. But you'll find stuff like this that if it's not expensive, take a chance on it. It's not going to be all that complicated. Take the thing back home, clean it up, go fishing with it. I mean, if you spend $5 or $10 on this little guy right here and you go out and catch a couple fish, or you buy this guy right here for $60 and you go out and catch a couple fish, I mean, you do the math. Mainly because I can't add that kind of stuff up. Yeah, you have to be cautious about the things, you know. Here's a Mitchell 304. This is even a Garcia Mitchell 304. Makes a lot of noise, but it works really well. I mean, to go out and catch a couple of fish, have some fun, and learn something along the way, taking this thing apart, cleaning it up. It casts great, 4 and 6 pound line. You can even go up to like 8 and 10 on this and probably still be perfectly fine and cast fairly far. We all know that the lesser the line size, the further you're going to cast. Sometimes it has a lot to do with the spool design too, and how that line comes off of the spool. But these 304s work really well. Now, spin cast reels, which we all know that I'm one of those guys that I love the old silly spin cast reel. I have been accused, I've been called names, I've been told to stop messing with them, you name it, I've been told everything. But hey, this is my channel. This is what I do. I didn't hold a gun to your head and make you watch. Abomamatic 170, a great reel. Made in Sweden, just a fun reel to use. They work really well. Some of them have a little growl to them, but you got to take into consideration how long they've been around. But you can still get parts for them. I get gears and parts and stuff for these reels all the time. Matt's Reel Repair. I brought that name up on a million times. A million times over I brought it up. I brought it up over a million times. I'm going to go back and count, but it's close to that. I'm pretty darn sure. These reels right here will cast 6 pound line really well. 6 and 8 is what I normally use. I very seldom ever go over 8 pound line on these reels, mainly because of how small the lures are that I use. Want to be able to cast it as far as I can. So I do not go as small as 4. I never use 4-pound line on any of these reels, any of the spin cast reels, but 6 and 8 all day long. I even got a couple back there that might even have 10 on it. And if you get up into the bigger reels, like the the Johnson 130, I've got 12-pound on that. And it casts stuff pretty far, but I only use it for big stuff. I only, top water baits and things that I can throw pretty far. And we got some more stuff coming up on those, as a matter of fact. But that, and of course, I'm gonna do it. Johnson Sentry. Sentry in the Citation. This one's got a line on it, so I can't retrieve with it right now. But I love these reels. I'm not going to tell you that they're the most durable reel in the world, because a lot of these reels, when you find them, they have problems. The crank arms, the hole that goes over the shaft is shaped like a D. It's made to go over, well, those get wore out. The rotors have the same hole up on top. They have a tendency to get wore out. The gears, if you pull too hard while it's stuck in place, you can screw the gears up. But those are the things you overlook if you do this stuff. If you do this stuff and you love a reel and you love the company, you overlook that stuff. Or you have 89 of these like I do, and then you just switch to the next one. But regardless, 6-pound line on this guy right here, 1/16 jig, 3/32. Little baits, little Charlie Brewers, blast them all day long and have a great time with this thing right here. Shakespeare. Shakespeare has their version of all this stuff too. This is a 1797. This has a drag on the cap. You turn the entire cap for your drag. Has a nice big button for your thumb. It is a big reel. Most Shakespeare reels back from that time frame, let's see what time frame we're talking about. EE, 66. 1966 right here. They were big, they were bulky, but when you take one of these things apart, you can see everything so easily and so clearly, and how easily it worked and how good it works. Biggest problem you'll have with these old Shakespeares is a lot of times the old crank arm is in bad shape. What happens is you get corrosion right here inside this little handle that you hold on to on the shaft. It gets corroded, it gets stuck, it expands, and it blows that little thing apart. There's ways to repair that. As a matter of fact, my buddy Dan is actually coming up with a fantastic way of rebuilding these little doodah things here. This one's starting to corrode too. I need to clean it. I had to clean that up. Oh yeah, I meant like right now. Put that aside, the next thing you know, you forgot all about it. You come back and you're corroded, expanded, blown out. That stinks, man. Ain't like you can just go out to Walmart and pick one of these up. So that's basically how I do what I do. People ask about vintage rods all the time, and no, I am not a huge promoter of using vintage rods. I would say that the reason I don't do that is because one, some vintage rods are solid fiberglass. They're really heavy. They have very small handles. You have to use one-handed for the spin cast stuff, and it's a little awkward to cast, but you find one in really good shape, it's fun to use. A couple of times. Or then again, you may be that person that goes out and says, I want to use this all the time. That's great. Wonderful. For me, I like to go out with something that's a little bit more user-friendly, I guess you'd say. Even though the reels, to some of you may say, that's not very user-friendly. But I don't use vintage rods very often. Do I have them? Yes. I have Wonder rods. I have some old Fenwicks. I have a lot of old rods around here, but I just don't use them that often. So that's just me. You do you. So anyway, there you go. That's what I do. That is my bait setup. I use squirt jigs, Charlie Brewer, Bass Pro Shops. Use whatever bait you want to use. If you want to try the squirt jig thing, it'll work with any of the little soft plastics. You can run, if everything from beetle spins, you name it, that will work that way. You can even put that squirt jig on a beetle spin spinner, if that's what you want to use, and it'll work that way as well. And you don't have that big goofy ball head. Give it a shot. As a matter of fact, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I ought to try that. Been a long time since I beetle used them. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, sorry about the light. Sun's out there somewhere. Supposed to be nice tomorrow though. It's always nice on Sunday, the day before you have to go back to work. I don't get it. It's like, it would be nice if it was nice on Saturday where I could go somewhere and do something, maybe stay overnight, come back Sunday, but no. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you on the next one. Whatever the next one may be. Oh, I'll let that get cold. How do people drink iced coffee? It just doesn't make sense to me. I can't. Ugh. Now I need some Kool-Aid or something.